We advanced all that day, and we stopped to rest and dug in and got your positions on the front lines. And the next day, my buddy wanted to get some water. He went and got some water from an old French house in the front. So after he came back, I went and filled my canteen up. I said, was there anything out there? And I was just safe. He says, yes, I didn't see anything. So I went to get me some water, and that's when I got captured, 12 German soldiers. And they marched me back behind the lines on a motorcycle and interrogated me at nighttime in a little tent. Asked me all types of questions. And I was by myself. So I was very scared too. Looking at nothing but Germans and Nazis and tanks and stuff like that by myself. I didn't know what they were going to do to me. I thought probably they was going to kill me, see. We got to Trier, Germany. Stayed there about 3 weeks with a lot of other prisoners, Russians and everything. And then they put us in box cars and closed them up. We went to Memory, another camp. Stayed there about 2 weeks. There, they shipped us out, some of us, to Augsburg, Germany, Stalag 7B. We were in a small camp, I guess about 100 troops, prisoners, and barracks, 32 room, and had straw beds. It wasn't comfortable, and that's how you slept. You had a little pot-belly stove sitting right in the middle of the barracks, and you would heat your coffee on that in the morning. That's the only thing you had, and the coffee was so black. I don't know where they got it. It looked like it was cold. It was so nasty, it was miserable. But we had to drink or else we wouldn't have anything. Then we were lined up with some soup. And where they made the soup, I don't know. It was nasty. Like they hadn't washed it, Or we were sick all the time, put it that way. And water was turned on 15 minutes a day, and you had to get out there and do a little pan washing. You couldn't take a shower if you did. I didn't see it. I didn't shower for 10 months. So I said, these Germans weren't gonna kill me. And I kept my eyes open all the time, just as hard as I could, and I looked in all directions. Every little movement in the foxhole looking toward us, I would look. I was on the alert. So being on the alert helped me a lot. And there I stayed the rest of my prison term until I escaped.
After the war was over in 1945, the Victory Medal was designed, and it's a classic medal. It's probably one of the most handsome medals ever turned out by this country.
The World War II Victory Medal was established by Act of Congress July 6, 1945. The medal is authorized to any member of the armed forces who served on active duty any time between December 7, 1941 and December 31, 1946. The medal was also awarded to members of the Philippine Armed Forces. The medal is a bronze medallion, 1 3/8 inches in diameter. On the front, Liberty rests her right foot on a war god's helmet. Behind is a multi-rayed sun. Her right hand holds the hilt of a broken sword. The left hand holds the broken blade, symbolizing that the Axis powers are broken and defeated. Below her right hand is the word world, and below her left hand is War II. The ribbon's center stripe is symbolic of Mars, god of war, and for courage and fortitude. The twin rainbow stripes, suggested by the World War I Victory Medal, are the rainbow of the Allies' flags: red-orange, yellow-green, green-blue, and navy blue. The rainbow alludes to the peace following a storm. A narrow white stripe separates the center red from each rainbow. The American military also authorized and awarded occupation medals for personnel that occupied for at least 30 days formerly enemy homelands.
One of the medals that most veterans don't realize that they are authorized is the occupation medal, because most troops didn't have enough points right at the end of the war to get rotated back within the first 30 days. So any soldier, sailor, airman, Marine who were in an occupied country for 30 days or more is authorized the occupation medal.
The Army and Navy occupation medals were established June 7, 1946 for the Army and Army Air Corps, and January 28, 1948 for the Navy, Marines, and Coast Guard for all service personnel who served 30 days or more in occupied Germany, Berlin, Austria, Italy, Japan, or Korea after they surrendered. Due to the late authorization date, many World War II veterans who were authorized this medal never knew about it and may never have received it. For the Army and Army Air Corps medal, the design shows the Remagen Bridge on the Rhine River. For the Navy, Marines, and Coast Guard, the medal depicts Neptune riding a mythical horse with serpent tail and holding a trident. For both medals, the ribbon colors white and black and white and red symbolize Germany and Japan. Additionally, the Army provided a clasp for Germany and Japan, while the Navy clasps are for Europe or Asia.
Additionally, for the first time, the United States started accepting some foreign awards.
The Philippine Army established a series of 3 medals that were authorized for all branches of the U.S. military. The Philippine Defense Medal was awarded for service in defense of the Philippines between December 8, 1941 and June 15, 1942, and included the defenders of Bataan and Corregidor. The Philippine Liberation Medal was awarded for service in the Philippines from October 17, 1944 to September 3, 1945, and included landings in Leyte or the liberation of the Philippines and surrounding waters. And the Philippine Independence Medal was awarded to members of the U.S. Armed Forces who received one or both of the Philippine Defense or Liberation Medals.
One of the most interesting things about World War II veterans and their medals is the fact that when they were discharged in World War II, they didn't get any medals. The reason was that medals, of course, are made out of bronze, and the brass and bronze was all being diverted to war munitions. None of the campaign medals or victory medals were made. So when the veterans were discharged in World War II, there were no medals to give them. So if you're trying to help someone come up with their awards and you say, well, and he was in the Army and he was in World War II and he was in for 3 years or more, and you say, hey, what about your Good Conduct Medal in the Army? They changed that in World War II, so you only had to serve 1 year to be authorized it. Most often you'll get a little laugh and say, well,
the Good Conduct Medals awarded to enlisted personnel for outstanding performance, fidelity, and conduct for all branches of military service were established at uniquely different times. For the Army and Army Air Force, it was 1941 and was authorized after 1 year of service. For the Navy, 1869, and the Marines, 1896. Yet both the Navy and Marines required 3 years of service even during wartime. And finally, the Coast Guard Good Conduct Medal was established in 1921 and also required 3 years of service. Of all medals authorized for World War II veterans, the sentiment for the Good Conduct Medal seems to vary.
My idea of a liberty was to go to the movies or go to a sporting event in cities. No bar hopping, no drinking. Never smoked in my life. So that's what I'm saying. I have not been rowdy and anything like that. Never got in any trouble. That is why I probably got a Good Conduct Medal, okay?
Well, we had the good conduct. I didn't get put in jail any time.
I used to drink a little bit in my younger days. When I was stationed at Fort Meade, Maryland, I had an old fellow in my outfit. He took up to me. He used to be a prize fighter. He used to be a heavyweight prize fighter. And we went out one day. We was over in Washington, D.C. in a bar. And this Marine come up to me and said, "I don't like your looks." I said, "Well, I'm sorry." And he knocked me off my stool. And that night, that's the only night I ever spent in the brig. But that old prize fighter, he jumped on those Marines and cleared the bar. So they put us both in the brig overnight. But that's the only trouble I ever got into. I guess if they found out, I probably wouldn't have got the Good Conduct Medal.
In spite of the horrors of war, soldiers still managed to walk away with humorous experiences.
We were celebrating the fact that we had flown 5 missions and were still alive. And we had found a bottle of bourbon. So we were celebrating the fact that we were still alive, and I got drunk and passed out. And when I did, my pilot and co-pilot carried me to bed. We lived in a hut with about 40 other people, but slept on iron bunks. And as my co-pilot, the big, big man, when he in turn is lowered my head to bed, he dropped my head and I broke my teeth. And that's my only injury during the war, dropping my head on a bunk.
There was one guy in my platoon that he couldn't read or write. So I was made an acting jack. That's a person that help out the other guys that's not quite able to take care of themselves in letter writing and that kind of thing. His wife would write him letters, and he would bring the letters to me, and I would read them to him. And some words that she would spell out, she would spell it out. She knew that he couldn't understand it, but she would draw it on there. And he would know what it is. And says, I'm taking care of it, baby. You don't have nothing to worry about.
Everything about the Navy and the Coast Guard became identical except for one little minor thing. The Coast Guard uniform bore a simple little shield that was worn on the right sleeve. And our first foreign port was Glasgow, Scotland. And we aboard the Bayfield couldn't wait to go ashore because we had understood the little ladies in Glasgow were a rather friendly lot, and we were a rather friendly crew ourselves. The only problem was when we went ashore, our good Navy brothers did a number on us, and they went around and told all the young ladies that would listen, don't fool with those guys with a shield on their sleeve. It means they have some sort of a disease, and you don't want to get involved in that. Well, after a few barroom fights, we straightened that mess out. True story.
The medals of World War II tell many tales. Thousands of veterans served proudly, and these medals are testament to their bravery and dedication. Can we ever thank them enough for their contributions? The medals of World War II truly are symbols of honor and tributes of respect.
I have a little case that has some of my medals on display, and it just reminds me over and over again that freedom is not free.
When I look at my medals, I think of what I have accomplished in life, and I think about my buddies and what we went through with to get these medals, and it makes me feel great.
I feel proud that I was able to serve our country in this time of operations.
Tomorrow, if I was a young man, I would do it again. I would do it again.
When I look at my medals, I feel very important. And I know I was in something that meant a lot to the whole world. And I feel patriotic and I feel very American, which is what I'm most proud of, being an American.
When I look at my medals, I appreciate the opportunity I had to serve my country and to be there and to come back alive through it all.
I'm proud because we won and we saved our country.
I don't know whether everybody's braver than anybody else. You're scared. And an air raid, you don't know whether those bombs are falling, you're afraid.
Anybody that say they didn't get scared sometimes, most of the time you got scared and stayed scared. You just don't do what you have to do.
Thank God for them, the people that get out there and put their life on the line, give up, sacrifice a lot of their personal life for the benefit of the country.
We ought to know what our country stands for and the basis of it and all like that. And so when I see those medals, I say, well, I've done my part and I'll do more if we had a chance, you know.
I'm just proud I could serve my country. I mean, and if I could, I'd serve them again.
We did our part, we did it well, and semper paratus, always ready.